It's 8 o'clock, and we're taking a live look at the demolition process after a massive overnight fire in Buffalo's Elmwood Village. Our Maura Christie is there and will give us a live report in just a few minutes. Thanks for joining us for Your Morning Buffalo. I'm Scott Patterson. Dan Russell is here with your Weather on the Ones forecast. Dan, a lot of sunshine this morning.
Yeah, brilliant sunshine all across western New York. One of the great things about having that sun now come up so early is we get to take a look at the visible map from outer space, and we're picking up just a few wispy clouds here on this early Wednesday morning, and we're going to hold on to the sunshine for pretty much the entire day. It's just that temperatures are going to remain along the cool side. It was a chilly start earlier this morning. We have many in the upper 30s. We are now climbing with the help of that sun, now up to 45 already at the airport in Buffalo, 46 in Dunkirk, still only 37 in Olean. I'll track these temperatures for you and talk about some summer warmth coming in for tomorrow, coming up in a bit.
New this morning, 3 people are in the hospital and 1 person is still missing after a massive overnight fire in Buffalo's Elmwood Village. Spectrum News reporter Maura Christie is live at the scene with the details. Maura.
That's right, Scott. As you said, 1 person is still unaccounted for and 3 others were sent to the hospital after this morning's fire. You can see that crews are still continuing the demolition on this house. Fire broke out just after 2:30 this morning. The cause of the fire is still under investigation, and crews have been working for hours now, taking down this house slowly. And we're not sure the full extent of damages to the buildings next door, but we can see that there are some damages on the sides. But again, 1 person is still unaccounted for and 3 were sent to the hospital after this morning's fire. And after we get any updates from Buffalo Fire, we will be sure to bring them to you. But for now, reporting in Buffalo, Maura Christie, Spectrum News.
Well, you're going to need to avoid that part of Elmwood as you drive to work. Let's check in with Barry V for some possible alternatives. Barry?
Yeah, right here. This is where it is on the map, so you can see what part of the road closure is between Bird and Forest. And here's a couple of options for you as far as alternate routes go. Maybe you want to take Ashland or Granger. Those are your 2 options that you can extend to if you're traveling this morning to get around that area. There is a car fire reported here, 90 eastbound, right near the 190. It is not impacting traffic eastbound, westbound. Looks good. 190 northbound, a little slow as you get closer to the Skyway. Right now, eastbound 90, slow, and inbound Kensington from Harlem beyond Bailey. Most of the way into the 198, you're going to be under there as well. Another update in a short while on Your Morning Buffalo.
Well, we now have an idea of who will fill the 9 open seats on the Buffalo School Board. The unofficial results from the election are in. 3 at-large seats were open with 8 candidates running for them. Ann Rivera, Terrence Hurd, and Lawrence Scott received the bulk of the votes and will take those seats. It was a close race for the East District. Patricia Elliott lost by 31 votes to Kathy Evans. Louis Petrucci beat Austin Herrig in the Park District race. The rest of the races were unopposed. All of the seats on the board are up for election at the same time, once every 15 years. Although the Buffalo School Board affects thousands of kids and the education they receive, only 5% of voters turned out to select the next board members. Election commissioners say this comes as no surprise, though. They say voter turnout is usually low for school board elections in Buffalo. The last 4 have ranged from 5 to 14% of registered voters. The reasons for low turnout this time around: a number of the races were unopposed, there wasn't much controversy, and the time of year for the election.
Traditionally, people are not used to voting in May, and that's probably the main factor. I'm from Kenmore, Tonawanda originally. Our village elections used to be in March, and nobody voted. They did move them to November, and now people turn out, at a much higher percentage, times than 50, 60%.
Former election commissioner Len Lenahan says he believes consolidating voting to fewer times per year is something lawmakers might take up at the state level. Niagara County Emergency Services is prepared for major flooding along Lake Ontario. They say the lake's water level is rising a half inch a day. Emergency Services Coordinator Jonathan Schultz says crews continue to prepare for flooding with additional rain in the forecast and the potential for wind out of the northeast later this week. DOT crews have been in Olcott since Friday, repairing the shoreline that was eroded by past flooding.
They're restoring about 20 feet that's been washed away. The long arm excavator has been able to reach out probably about 50, 60 feet.
In Wilson, Moyers Marina and the Wilson Yacht Club are already dealing with flooding. The Yacht Club has already built a wall of sandbags, while some of the marina's docks are underwater. An Erie, Pennsylvania man is accused of having a gun in his carry-on luggage as he tried to fly out of the Buffalo-Niagara International Airport. TSA agents found the weapon as he went through security screening. 53-year-old Thomas Pearson is charged with criminal possession of a firearm. Transit police say Pearson does not have a New York State pistol permit, and police say even travelers with concealed gun permits are not allowed to bring guns onto airplanes in their carry-on bags. Recognizing the heroes in our own backyard, the Red Cross and Spectrum News are honoring real heroes across Western New York, featuring 12 stories leading up to a breakfast honoring these men and women. Well, they protect and serve in their daily jobs, but this law enforcement real hero is being honored for what he did on his lunch break. Here's the story of a Chautauqua County Sheriff's deputy who saved a baby's life.
Do you want a menu?
I worked day shift that morning, which I hadn't done in years.
What would you like?
Me and a couple guys just got together. We're gonna have lunch together at the local diner there in Mayville.
No hash browns?
Nope.
Okay.
I heard some commotion and someone was yelling that baby's choking, baby's choking. The baby was starting to get discolored and turning blue. I gave the baby about 7 or 8 thumps in the back.
In a situation like this, you really want to give it a few good blows, just upward motion.
And all of a sudden she started crying. Like a lot of things with the job, you just gotta kind of react, and then afterwards is when the nerves set in and you think about it after. But throughout the incident, no, it was just more of a, we're all trained to react to anything. You never know what's gonna come your way. I'm glad that I know these skills from in my own personal life too. You never know what's gonna come about. I mean, this was just a normal day. It had been a slow day. We were just sitting there, eating lunch, and all of a sudden you go from 0 to 100 in 5 seconds.
How was everything, guys? Oh, good.
I went back to the table and I ate lunch, and the grandmother came over several times and was thanking me.
You're welcome. Have a good day, guys.
You too.
Awesome. Thank you.
I've had several other CPR-related type things on adults, but never with an infant. One thing that kind of made it all even more intense for me was the fact that I have a small child myself. Kind of put everything into perspective now that I have my own baby. It really kind of hit home a little more. I'm very honored to get the recognition. It's nice that with everything going on in society with law enforcement kind of having some people have a negative outlook on law enforcement. It's nice to get these stories out there. Not for my own well-being, but for law enforcement as a whole. Get a positive story out there. I'm Adam McAdoo, American Red Cross, law enforcement real hero.
Well, we're sharing 12 different stories of real heroes in our community. A new one debuts every weekday on Your Morning Buffalo, leading up to the Red Cross Real Heroes Breakfast next Thursday. Tune in tomorrow when we introduce you to the good neighbors who are Buffalo strong. Well, at the beginning of the school year, we showed you a group of students at Buffalo's McKinley High School building a house for Habitat for Humanity. Well, that's just the beginning of the career and technical education for these students. This morning, Spectrum News reporter Brianna Foose is getting a live look at what else the students are acing. Hi, Bri.
Well, hi, Scott. Of course, we've shown you turtles and ducks, and now we're going to circle back to all the beautiful greenery that all of the students here at McKinley High School, or most of them, I should say, are growing right now for your enjoyment. Joining me, one of the teachers who really helps get these kids' green thumbs going, Mr. Dan. This is great. So we are in zone 2, as you guys call it. What does that mean?
It's just how we divide up the different zones. Like this will be mostly geraniums and bedding plants and things like that. We have a small area that we help out Journey's End. We try to make community connections and things like that. So kids are part of it. So.
And you were just over in a separate room putting orders together. I didn't realize you guys, people can come and place wedding orders, baby shower orders. I might hit you guys up for that in a little bit.
For instance, just this week we have a wedding. We're doing something for Mother's Day for True Bethel Baptist. We have we're also doing, we just did something for Say Yes. So, I mean, we make the connections with everybody. I mean, if there's a banquet or something happening in the district, we're usually somewhere in the mix.
That's so cool. And if people have some spring ideas, they can come here and buy some of these flowers right now. And of course, then all that money goes back to help these kids and support the program.
Yes, it does.
So when can people come?
8:30 to 5 we're usually here, Monday through Friday. cash and checks only.
That's good to know. And you guys have just about everything. You have annuals, perennials, any like fun random plants people might not think of?
We've got some planters we did for Mother's Day. We've got some cemetery things. We've got a big selection of perennials this year. So that's real nice. That's exciting.
Now we just need Mother Nature to cooperate, right? Thankfully, though, you guys have these beautiful greenhouses, so
Yes.
we're good to go. We've been staying warm this morning. Coming up next, we're going to go back to the aquatics lab to show you snakes and the tilapia the students have been nurturing throughout this school year. Live at McKinley High School in Buffalo this morning, I'm Brianna Foose. Back to you, Scott.
Bree, thank you. An abused dog is recovering this morning. We want to warn you, some of the images might be disturbing to you. Veterinarians say Sandy was underfed, dehydrated, and covered in feces and urine. She was rescued from abusive owners in North Tonawanda after someone tipped off police. Her rescuers were calling her Sam Sam, but found out her name is actually Sandy. She's now recovering at Green Acres Animal Hospital on Niagara Falls Boulevard.
We're still in kind of the phases we're worried about her body not handling all this food, but she's hungry, she's adorable, we all love her here. She's going to probably stay with us for a couple of weeks, but we've had a lot of people come in, donate to the GoFundMe, which is awesome, and you know, she's getting all the care that she needs, and so far so good.
The GoFundMe to cover the cost of medical bills has already brought in more than its $5,000 goal. The leftover money will go back into the emergency fund at Green Acres for abused dogs in need of care. The owners are charged with animal abuse. Today's another good day to get outdoors. A little cooler, but Dan, I don't know that you're going to notice it with that bright sunshine.
Yeah, you know, and it's brilliant sunshine here to kick off today. Pretty much cloud-free skies. Take a look at some of our traffic cameras. Tell me if you find a cloud. Nothing. Again, especially around the Buffalo Metro, there are a few wispy clouds into the southern tier, but sunshine will be the general rule, and you can see that on our cloud and radar forecast. And by the lunch hour, we'll at least have temperatures climbing into the low, if not mid-50s. Most will end up in the upper 50s to around 60, the average high being in the mid-60s, so a little bit below average. As we do finish up today, you may begin to notice some mid and upper clouds begin to filter in. Here we are at 8 p.m. Sunset, that's almost 8:30, so we'll see some clouds try to filter in right around sunset. Temperatures will initially fall into the 40s, but the reason for those clouds, warm front's going to pass overhead during the overnight. Could see maybe a little quick passing shower, but as you see here, nothing showing up on the radar, so most areas remain dry. And after initially falling into the 40s, that breeze is going to pick up out of the south. And here we are tomorrow morning at 7 a.m., and we already have many climbing into the low, some spots mid-50s, already approaching 60 in Fredonia. Westfield to kick off today, so it's already a milder start, and with that milder head start, we bring back some summer warmth for your Thursday with temperatures climbing into the 70s, 77 in Buffalo, 75 in Akron. Check out Newfane flirting with 80 degrees tomorrow afternoon. By 3 p.m., I can't rely on a stray shower, mainly into the southern tier, but overall it's not until the end of the day. That's when we'll actually see the best chance for some showers, maybe even a rumble of thunder. And here we are at 7 p.m., and you can see some of that rain knocking on the door. And that rain will continue into the overnight and at least to the first half of Friday. Check out Friday. We're starting out with temperatures in the 60s. It's just that we're going to cool off because this is a cold front, and that will continue to cool us off heading into the weekend. So here is your weekend outlook. It's hump day. Time to take a look at that weekend forecast. Saturday, we start out in the 40s. Pretty much a carbon copy of today. A wealth of sunshine. Temperatures upper 50s to around 60, and that's the day in which you're going to want to do any of your outdoor plans, maybe doing some gardening for Mother's Day. I know that's my plan with my wife and son. Sunday, that's the reason why we want to do it on Saturday, because Sunday is looking cool and damp with showers and temperatures potentially struggling to even get out of the 40s.
Ooh.
Yeah, not the nicest Mother's Day forecast, and some of that cool and damp weather may actually stick around at least early next week.
Oh, spend some time indoors with Mom. All right.
And Saturday looks fantastic.
Okay, thank you, Dan. The Bisons pulled off a win against the Stripers down in Georgia. We are going to have the highlights. Let's take a quick look at the flowers in the greenhouse at McKinley High School. You're watching Your Morning Buffalo.